Hello, welcome to Music Theory Basics video number 4, I think this is. Today we're going to read the treble clef notes, and more specifically, we're going to be reading the notes on the lines. In the previous video, we learned how to read the notes in the spaces. So let's get right into it. As we saw, the musical staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. All right. And so you can see here the lines are obviously what you can see, but the spaces are between one line and the other. That makes up for 4 spaces. They are numbered right on the screen. Of course, you can write notes on the lines. That's what we're going to be learning today. We can write notes in the spaces as well, and we looked at the names for these notes in the last video. So how many lines does the staff have again? Yes, 5 lines. And how many spaces does the staff have? 4. Yes, we have 4. Where on the staff can you write down the notes? Correct, on the lines and in the spaces. Now, this is important. When you write a note on a line, make sure the line is right in the middle of the note head. So a lot of people write very erratic notes on their staffs, and you can't really understand whether it's a note on the line or in the space. So as you can see, here are some examples of how to draw it well and how not to draw it. I have 2 examples of how not to do it. So in order to write your note neatly, you first draw the top half of your note on the line, and then you draw the bottom half. All right, so make sure half and half. Even if it looks like a little watermelon at the beginning, you'll get better at centering your note inside of the line. Same thing with the notes in the spaces. Make sure the note isn't outside of the space or touching the lines or going beyond the lines, because that's going to make the notes very unclear. So it will be very ambiguous. You want to have a neat handwriting. So for that, I would suggest you write the left half of your note and then the right half, or the other way around, as long as it looks neat whenever you finish with that. All right, so just like when we write letters in words, notes are written left to right. Make sure you have the proper spacing between one note and the other. So on the top, you can see this is the right way to write them down. And on the bottom, even though you could argue that that is a chord, the way that the notes are all kind of not really together, especially on the further right side, it looks like a cluster. It's clutter. It looks messy. And it's, you can't really understand if you're supposed to play one after the other or play them as a chord. So make sure that you're neat when you write down your notes. So each line and space has names. We use letters of the alphabet to name each line of this and space. And of course, you already learned the notes in the spaces. By spelling out the word face, you can figure out which notes are in the space. If you want to look at this video, click on the link below in the description. So here we have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. And these are only the notes on the staff in the treble clef. Also, I wanted to mention that the musical alphabet, if you want to call it that, is from A to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Once you arrive at G, it starts all over again, repeating itself over and over. That's the bell. So repeating itself over and over, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we only use the letters A through G from the alphabet, okay? There is no H. When you finish a G, like I said, you start from A again, and we call this our musical alphabet. So what is the musical alphabet again? Let's check for understanding. Correct. The alphabet letters used to name musical notes from A to G. And then once you get to G, if you want to keep going up, you just start from A again. So let's learn the names of the lines, okay? So here we have each note on the corresponding line, and the letters of these lines, or the name of these lines, are E, G, B, D, F. Now, just remembering E, G, B, D, F might be, hard for some people, confusing, frustrating. So there's a phrase that I'm going to teach you today, and the phrase is, Eddie's green boots don't fit. Now, obviously, there are tons of phrases out there. This is just one of the many that I'm using. Other people use every good boy does fine, etc. But we're going to use Eddie's green boots do not fit or don't fit. The bottom line is our first line. The name of this line is the letter E, like the name Eddie. So if you want to go ahead and print out the piece of sheet music that I've linked in the description, it's going to take you to a website. You can just the sheet music will appear with the pentagram paper or staff paper, and you can just print it out and follow along. So I suggest you highlight the first staff that you see, draw your treble clef on the left, and highlight the first line on the bottom. And you're going to write the letter E on it. Okay? So draw a whole note on the E line once you've done that to show that the note on that line is the E note. So now we know that the note on the first bottom line is the E note, like the name Eddie. Remember our phrase, Eddie's green boots don't fit. Next, the second line, it is a G line. That is where the G clef sits. Remember, just like the F clef has the line going through the two little dots, the G clef sits on the G line, or wraps around the G line. It really sits on the E line, but it wraps around the G line. So immediately when you look at that second line, if you want to just look at the clef, oh, it's a G. It's easy to remember the same. So then you're going to write the letter G next to it, so you remember that. And this, you're doing this on the second staff down the piece of paper. Okay, so for each one of these slides, you want to write it down on each staff. So the first staff should have only the first red line, which is the bottom line, the E line, underlined with the E note, and of course a half note, whole note, whatever you want to draw is fine. The second staff down the sheet of paper should have the second line, which is the G line we're working on, highlighted, any color you want. And now you add the G note to it. So you add a note to it. And you're going to have, the G note now. Next, so we have Eddie's green. Now let's go to boots, right? Eddie's green boots. The third line should be B, just like boots. And just like before, highlighting the line, remember always to have your treble clef on the left side drawn. Then you're going to draw your whole note or quarter note or half note, whatever you like, to show that the note on the B line is now a B note. So notes in themselves are not named other than their value. So this is a whole note without being on the staff. Once it's on the staff, you can call it a B note, an E note, a G note, etc. Next, we have the D line. Eddie's green boots don't. The fourth line's name is D, as in the word don't. So write the letter D next to the fourth line, highlight the fourth line. Now you're on the fourth staff down the page. And make sure that you're always drawing your treble clef. Now, if you want to learn how to draw the treble clef, there is a video I made, which is the video number 1 on how to draw the treble clef. And it shows you these basic elements of music, which are the staff, the clef, and notes. Next, you're going to draw the note. And so now you have a D note. We have Eddie's green boots don't. And then we move on to the last one. Same thing. You should be on the 5th staff down the page that you printed out. Draw your treble clef. Then Eddie's green boots don't. Highlight the F line and then draw an F note. So now that we know that the note on the 5th line is the F note, like the word fit, I think we are ready to practice our notes. So if I want to know the name of this note, all I have to do is say the phrase, Eddie's green boots don't fit, and I count the lines from the bottom up as I say my phrase. So here's an example. Eddie's green boots don't. I stop at the note because, I don't need to go further. That's where the note is. So the word is don't. I'm going to take the first letter of that word, and the name of the note is D. This note, okay, let's see. If I want to know the name of it, I just have to say our phrase Eddie's green boots don't fit. So I got to fit on this note. That means the note is an F. Next note, okay, Eddie's, and I stop right there. That's where the note is. The note is E. What about this? Eddie's green. The note is a G. Next note. If I want to know the name of the note, I say Eddie's green boots don't fit from the bottom up, and I stop at the note, right? I stop the phrase. So Eddie's green boots, voila. That's it. So congratulations, you've learned the names of the notes on the line using your phrase that you've acquired today, which is Eddie's green boots don't fit. Now, if you would like to practice some more, I have a link in the description to a quiz where you're tested on the notes of the lines only. In the previous video, which is the notes in the spaces, I gave you a quiz that focuses only on the notes that are in the spaces. So if you want to go do that, you can find it in the previous video. I'll place a link in the description. All right, well, that's it for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Study hard, and I'll see you on the next one.